Today, Justice Mugure Thande gave thunder by declaring that the election of the president is supposed to be on 11th of August 2026, but suspended. This country has conducted more than 11 elections, the worst being 2007, where more than 1,000 Kenyans lost their life. My appeal from court helicopter is that the election that the judge has confirmed that will be conducted on Tuesday, the 10th of August 2027, let it be peaceful. Let us not kill each other. Let us not destroy this country. The results might be contested, but the country has remained together. Why do we want to burn our country? Why do we want to fight? We can differ politically. We can differ ideologically. But one thing, we remain Kenyans. Welcome to Court Helicopter Trending Version. Today, Justice Mugure Thande gave thunder by declaring that the election of the president is supposed to be on 11th of August 2026, but suspended. Bramwell and Cyrus went to the history, to the archives. Do you know Kenya has had 11 elections since 1963. We have had 11 general elections. We are going to look at those elections and how this country has come to where we are. People who were there in 1963 when the first election was conducted are now over 60 years old. Let us go to the history. This is the history that is there. Kenya attained independence in 1963. Then in 1963, there were pre-independence elections. These were elections that were done before Kenya got independence. What happened in those elections? They were widely boycotted in northeastern province. Violence was reported in various parts of the country. 4 people were killed in Isiolo. A tear gas was used in Nyanza and Nakuru, and there were clashes between supporters in Machakos, Mombasa, Nairobi, and Kitale. What were the results? KANU won 66 seats out of 112 and gained a working majority. In the Senate, KANU won 19 out of 38 seats, while KADU won 16 seats in that election of 1963. That was the election that led to Kenya becoming independence. The second general election was in 1966, immediately after independence. What were these elections supposed to do? In 1963, Jomo Kenyatta became the president. He appointed Raila Amolo's father, the late Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, as his deputy vice president. Kenyatta wanted the powers of Jaramogi to be reduced. So he called for a snap election, which Ruto cannot do. What it wanted to consolidate power for Kenyatta. The voting, KANU won 21 out of 28 contested seats in the House of Representatives, and KPU, the party of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, won 7 seats. In the Senate, KANU won 8 out of the contested seats. Jaramogi Oginga's KPU won 2. That is the second snap election. Kenyatta again called for another election, the third election. This is 1969. This one, out of 158 incumbents, 77 members of parliament lost their seats, including 5 cabinet ministers. 7 women stood for elections, but only 1 was elected. That is Grace Onyango in Kisumu. Kenya elected the first elected woman in 1969. 1974, another election was conducted. In this election, the age was reduced from 21 to 18. Sarah was telling me, do you know, only people who are 21 years old were allowed to vote. The Gen Zs, you are lucky. At 18, you are going to be allowed to vote. This, the first time Kenyans below 21, that is 18 years, were allowed to vote was in 1974. In this election, 158 sitting members of parliament lost their seats, including 4 cabinet ministers and 13 assistant ministers. 13 women contested, 4 were elected. Now we have at least 4 coming. The next election was in 1979. This one, Jomo Kenyatta died in 1978. Under the law, Moi was allowed to act as a president for 90 days. Another election was to be conducted. What was the outcome? Half of all those who were elected were thrown out. 15 women contested, only 4 were elected. Another election was in 1983. This was about the Njonjo issue. President Moi was fighting Charles Njonjo, the traitor issue. After Jomo Kenyatta died, Njonjo were fighting with Kibaki. Njonjo had a lot of power. President Moi called a snap election to remove Njonjo and his colleagues from office. Njonjo, this one, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, was barred from contesting in 1983. The next election was in 1988. How many years were you? This one, the secret ballot was removed and the Kenyans queued by Mulolongo. Mulolongo was meant to allow to remove those ones who are not wanted before they go to the ballot. This was a game by Moi to remove, because the queues, those who had long queues, were counted, and the DC then, the provincial administration, could count. Your line has 5,000 people. He announces you have 5. He counts your opponent, who was Moi's favorite. He had two people. He says that one with a short line has 5,000 votes. The infamous Mulolongo election. Here, out of 188 seats, 123 were decided by secret ballot, while 15 were declared elected under the 70% rule. 14 candidates went in unopposed. Out of 6 women, 2 were elected. 1992. We have an election in 1992, which was conducted on the 29th December 1992. In this election, Moi won by 36.8% of the total votes. Kanu won 94 of the 2010 seats, followed by Ford Asili with 31, and Ford Kenya with 23. DP, KNC, PIC, and KC each won 1 seat. This is the first ever contested presidential election. There were 7 presidential candidates. That is Moi, Matiba, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, and the others. We come to the 1997 general election. This is the 7th election. Here, this election was conducted on the 29th December and 30th December. President Moi won the presidential election with 40% of the national vote. Mwai Kibaki of DP with 30%. Raila Odinga of NDP with 10%. Christopher Omalwa of Ford K with 8.19%. Charity Ngilu of SDP with 7.91%, and the other 11 candidates only managed 1.73%. Then we have the 8th election, the general election that of 2002. This one, Moi was not in the ballot. In this election, it was a tough contest. Kibaki carried the day with NAC. The election was conducted on the 27th December 2002. A total of 5,969,181 voters voted. What were the results? NAC won the presidential election to become Kibaki's Kenya third president. Kibaki got 62% of the national vote. Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta of KANU came second with 30%, while Simon Nyachai of Ford People came third with only 7%. This was the results. The 9th election was in 2007. This was conducted again on the 27th of December 2007. This election, the PNU Kibaki won. You know, the infamous election that led to the post-election violence. Out of 190 outgoing MPs defending their seats, only 71 were re-elected. 20 ministers, including a sitting vice president, defending their seats, were defeated. KANU, the official opposition party of 2002, which later joined the government, was reduced from 62 to 14. 15 female candidates were elected, which is the highest number ever. That was the 2007 election. We go to the 10th election, the election of 2013. This was the election that was conducted, and President Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto were in the ballot. What were the results of the 2013 election? President Uhuru Kenyatta of TNA was declared the winner with 6,173,433, representing 50+1. Raila Odinga of ODM was second with 5,340,546, 43%. Musalia Mudavadi of UDF had 483,981, that is 3.93%. Peter Kenneth of KNC had 72,786, 0.59%. Mohamed Abduba Dida had 0.46%. 0.43%. Martha Karua of NAK Kenya had 43,881, 0.36%. James Kiabi of RBK had 40,998, 0.33%. Paul Mwite, senior counsel, my senior, had 12,580, 0.10%. That was the election of 2020, that is 2013. In 2022, President Ruto got 7,176,141, representing 50.49%. Raila Odinga had 6,942,930, representing 48.85%. How did the parties do? UDA got 143 seats, ODM 89 seats, Jubilee 28, Wiper 26, Amani 8, UDM 6, KANU 6, Ford K 6, DAP 5, and PAR 3. What are the lessons from this historical perspective? That Kenya has run democratically from 1963. We have never missed a general election. We have always contested. The results might be contested, but the country has remained together. My appeal from court helicopter is that the election that the judge has confirmed that will be conducted on Tuesday, the 10th of August, 2027, let it be peaceful. Let us not kill each other. Let us not destroy this country. We don't have any country. This country has conducted more than 11 elections. The worst being 2007, where more than 1,000 Kenyans lost their life. There is the talk, the war talks we are seeing from court helicopter. We condemn both sides. That man in UDA, that woman in DCP, that lady in PNU, that lady in DP is your sister, is your citizen, is your brother. Remember, no foreigner is going to vote. Only Kenyans above 18 years are going to vote. Why do we want to ban our country? Why do we want to fight? We can differ politically. We can differ ideologically. But one thing, we remain Kenyans. From Court Helicopter, we want to thank Cyrus Kimanga for having got this historical surge. Thank you and keep watching.